From the sidelines on 1580 KGAL.
Good morning, everybody. I feel good. In fact, I'd like to quit right now because I got that in the right machine. I'm using 2 CD machines. Ever since they got rid of turntables, which was a serious mistake in the broadcast business, you don't know what's going on inside those machines. And if you've loaded them up earlier, when you had 2 turntables, you would be able to look at the turntables and you could see which song was on which one. But with a CD machine, you don't know what's in there. It makes the industry so much tougher, but no one cared. And I am so pleased that I had both CD machines ready to use, and I hit the correct button. May a smile crease your Friday morning countenance. But I really should quit at this point. However, I will go on, and I will introduce the man who should be over here throwing the switches. We were just talking about the fact he would do it well. He would do it right, and how that just fries me. Wally Ordeman, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Oh, why is your microphone on? I didn't turn it on. Oh, darn.
The irony, and I'm watching to see if that red light is on, and it's not. And the irony of you saying that I should be throwing the switches and flipping the buttons. And good morning, Ray.
So concerned about the CD machines that I forgot to hit the 2 lights here. Well, it'll never.
Not a problem.
No,
not a problem.
You know, if
less of me and more of you is always a better thing, anyway, isn't it?
If I had been any good in this industry, I would be somewhere where like the talk show people, they've got a producer. They don't do anything except sit there and, open. They don't even open the microphone, which I can't do either. They just speak, and that's all they have to do. But I was never good enough to be.
No, you're a multitasker. They trust you with all aspects of this broadcast.
Well, I wanted to begin with 2 CD machines today because during this past week there have been numerous conference changes again.
Yes, there have.
Let me ask you just offhand here before we hit the fine #1 song of a few months ago, Dem Conferences, done to the tune of Dem Bones. Do you remember that tune? Oh, the hip bones connected to the thigh bone? Good. Well, before we play that fine #1 song, Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
How many teams, Mr. Ordeman, in the Big Ten?
Aren't there 8?
8?
Aren't there 8 now? Or is it 10?
In the Big Ten?
Is it still 10?
No, it was 11 for years.
Oh, okay, fine.
It was 11.
It's 11.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you'd say 11 or 12.
I failed that miserably to make a point.
Oh.
But I'll wait. I'll make that point here in a little bit.
Well, of course, there used to be 10. They didn't really lose it. They gained Penn State.
No, that's right.
And then they became 11, but they were still the Big Ten.
But they had Notre Dame for a while in football, but then lost them. And
no, Notre Dame was going to go to. Is it the Big? Are they going to go to there and?
Well, then they're Big East. They're Big East for basketball.
Notre Dame's going to the ACC, I think. Aren't they?
My point exactly.
Or is it Big East?
My point is that you want me to make my point now?
You just did.
The country doesn't care. No. If it's the Pac-12, we care. The rest of the country, just like the rest of the country, doesn't care what the Pac-12 does.
We don't care because we can't keep up with it. We don't have any idea.
That's exactly right.
I mean, I care. I'd like to know who's where and who's playing. The first
time that there were musical chairs with these conferences and teams jumping ship and going to other conferences and the strength and the TV contracts and everything that comes along with the big money that is associated with these power conferences. The first time that happened, everybody was tuned into it. You knew exactly who was moving where and why, and you knew what was likely to happen to fill in the gaps from the conference that had just been abandoned by a certain team. I think the general public now is getting to the point where they're apathetic toward what's happening in these other conferences. If the Pac-12 was to have some more movement, it was front page news for a while when they went from Pac-10 to Pac-12. I think if the Pac-12 was to go up or down in numbers now, I think that it would be I think it would be front page again. But the rest of the country, I don't think anybody really cares what the Big East is doing.
I would agree with you. I think that's correct, but I would extend that a little further. The reason we don't care is we can't keep up with it at the moment.
Agreed.
So it's a matter of indifference. But once it's settled, I think we would care, because I do want to know who's in these conferences. It's just that right now it's so confusing that I don't pay any attention to it, that I am apathetic.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
But when it finally settles, maybe for 6 days, then I will look at the conferences as an interest to know who went where and who wound up, because I do have an interest in that. I'd like to know where they are.
That's my question, is why would you have an interest in who's in what conference? I mean,
curiosity.
It's interesting to know, especially like when you're talking about March Madness and some of those things, but to know, how many teams might be coming from the Big East or the ACC or whatever. That's one thing. Or when you get down to conference championships in football.
Yes.
Which is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, I get it. Otherwise, why do we care?
Why do I care? Because I care about the sport, so I'd like to know who's where and who will be playing. It's an interest to me to know that Rutgers and Maryland went to the Big Ten. They seem like unlikely people. Maryland leaves the ACC and all those great basketball battles with Duke and North Carolina to go to the Big Ten. I'm interested in that. I find that fascinating, the changes. By the way, the answer to the Big Ten now would be 14. That's amazing.
I'm doing a count in my head.
But that's the reason. This song, unfortunately, this was a #1 song and probably would have been #1 on the sports charts for years, except that they kept changing the conferences. So this song, which wasn't done, well, it was done last year. It was done a year ago, is now so out of fashion.
It's obsolete.
It is obsolete because it's not factual any longer.
Right. Right.
It talks about the confusion of a year ago, but imagine what it is now. It has really been exacerbated in the last year. But 1 year ago, this was a hit. Don't believe when it says exactly what the conferences are. That's no longer the case. But it still makes a sports point. Dem conferences. Well, the Pac-10's connected now to 12 teams. The Pac-12's connected now to 10 teams. The Big Ten's connected now to 12 teams. What the heck is the deal with these teams? Because ACC is connected to 14 teams. They'd like to add 2 more teams. Syracuse and Pittsburgh were once Big East teams. What the heck is the deal with these teams? I tell you, I'm going pigskin bonkers here, because Nebraska's been added to the Big Ten, so now they're Big 12. But remember when Penn State was added, they were still just 10. So what the heck's the deal with their math anyway? Big East connected to just 6 teams. SEC's connected to who knows how many. Depends on whether they lost or gained any in the last 5 minutes, for crying out loud. And what about Texas A&M? Well, they no longer want to play in the Big 12. They'd like to be in the SEC ranks. But the SEC just said, no thanks. So where does that leave them? Because most every team's still connected to some place, but every team's now running in this place race, a pursuit any moment that might erase what conference they'll be in tomorrow. Because the Pac-10's connected to 12 teams, the Big 12's connected to 10 teams, soon they'll be connected to just 9 teams. If Missouri goes, they're connected to just 8 teams. Unless they add 4 more, they're back to 12 teams. If Oklahoma and Texas go, they probably have no teams. But the Big Ten's connected now to 12 teams. The Pac-12 wants to have 16 teams. And there you have it.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day finishes it off. What was the #1 song for many weeks in the sports world, now obsolete, because nothing that's said, and except for a couple of those conferences, is true a year later.
Yeah, that's right.
Really changed.
Yeah, Texas A&M to the SEC now.
Are they in the SEC now?
I believe that's right.
And it's interesting, a year ago they were going to go, but the SEC said they didn't want them.
Right.
And then they were going to stay in the Big 12.
Right.
But they did go.
I believe that's right, because I remember watching that game when they beat, wasn't LSU,
Alabama.
Was it Alabama? Yes.
Alabama.
And they talked about the first meeting in conference play between those two teams.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that's where they are. To stay. Yeah. No wonder they met
Well,
up.
Texas A&M was tired of being Texas's little brother. There's the emotional side to it, but it's all about the dollars and big TV contracts and power conferences, and it's. But really, I am seriously apathetic toward this. I really am.
Okay. All right, then be that
I'm
way.
not saying we can't talk about it. I'm just
I
saying
do wanna know.
that it's become less and less relevant to me what conferences they are. Tell me where they stand when we get ready for the postseason. And
I understand, but I find it fascinating based on that song. It's just there's a fascination that there's so many changes of who's going where around the country, and the fact that some teams that maybe in Canada are now playing in the SEC or whatever.
Well, think about how all this started. It was teams that for leverage purposes, for more dollars or two, so that conferences were attracting teams, but teams were using it as leverage to try and get these TV deals done, and all sorts of dollars in the background for some of these moves. But once the snowballs started, I mean, it grew and grew and grew, and now there's no consistency whatsoever. It seems like it's becoming an annual event to do a shifting of the conferences, and you can't keep up.
Well, it's interesting. Maryland is in the Big 10 now, which is actually 14. They were 11 for a while, as the song says. They actually went to 12 with Nebraska. They still remain the Big 10. Now they've added Rutgers and Maryland. Will they still be the Big 10 even though they have 14?
Probably.
Probably so. They'll be the Big 10 no matter how many teams they add.
Right.
And that, to someone being born now that doesn't understand the changes, will be totally confused mathematically for the rest of their lives if they become a sports fan.
Millions of dollars in TV contracts, but they don't want to change their letterhead.
I think of the kids years from now that are born that don't understand all of the changes that took place.
Mm-hmm.
They will be in school and they'll be studying numbers, and they'll know there's 14 teams in the Big 10 or 28. And totally throw them off.
Yep.
What was it? Oh, you mentioned Texas A&M. It's interesting that Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football,
right,
who will certainly be one of the Heisman candidates, he was at a camp last summer. Do you know where?
I don't.
At Oregon.
Really?
Oregon has a summer camp, I guess, and
sure.
they had this Marcus
Mariota.
No. When Wally Ordeman, this is a classroom every week, when are you going to do your homework and get that question right?
You say it.
Mariota.
Fine.
Mariota. Ta. You got to get the ta in there. Not Mariota, accent on the last syllable, but Mariota.
Mariota.
Yes, very good. They were both at that camp last summer. Marcus and Johnny Manziel were both there. And Johnny Manziel initially, what is the word I'm looking for, was going to go to...
Committed?
Committed, that's it. Thank you very much.
Glad to help.
These, the words, I was 35 in October. I found a tremendous slippage this year. He committed to Oregon along with Marcus. But Johnny Manziel decided to go to Texas A&M. Possibly, maybe because, I don't know where he's from. Maybe he's from the South, and it was a matter of being closer to home or whatever. But possibly because he realized the kind of quarterback competition there would be at Oregon, and somebody was going to lose out.
Right. And he would have been very good in Oregon's system.
Yeah.
I think he would have been tremendous in that system.
A question that is not discussed too often, but maybe it should be. Would he be better than Marcus Mariota?
No, he's half the size, and no, I don't think so.
It's fascinating, though, that Mariota is the first-team quarterback in the Pac-12, not just the offensive freshman player of the year, but the offensive player of the year, first-team quarterback, beating out Matt Barkley and others in the conference.
Right, as a freshman.
And then Johnny Manziel is up for the Heisman Trophy, and they were both at Oregon's camp last summer, both thinking about Oregon. That's the kind of thing that you're up against.
Yep.
So last Saturday with the Civil War, it is the little guys against the bigger guys.
Yep.
And when you consider how well those little guys played last Saturday, not a lot of the big name schools didn't go after these people, but those coaches, along with Mike Riley, and I should know the others, forgive me, I don't, molded them into a good team, despite the fact that they're not the 5-star caliber athletes.
I agree with you. And Riley has gained a reputation for being able to do just that, and it helps with recruiting. So no doubt.
When that game is done and those yellow and green ill-advised people left the stadium, including your wife.
No.
Didn't she cheer?
Oh, yeah, she cheered from home.
Oh, I know you were at the game last night.
I was at the game with her brother.
We'll cover that in a moment. But when those ill-advised people left the stadium, they felt so good about themselves. I felt good about ourselves. What was accomplished with less than the 5-star athletes that they were given? I could coach that team and they'd win, for crying out loud. But the difficult thing is taking those athletes at Oregon State and compiling the record they did and being within 3 points of those 5-star biggies in the third quarter.
I agree with you over the course of the season. I don't agree with you in that Civil War game. I agree with you for a half, but they play 4 quarters in.
But the third quarter, they scored first. They were within 3 in the third quarter.
Yes, they did.
So agree with me into the third quarter.
Fair enough.
All right,
fair enough. I will agree with you.
That's
till it became 20-17, and then they fell apart.
Well, it didn't fall apart. You got those big. I shouldn't say money. That'd be wrong. That would be a slip of the Oregon State favoring tongue. The 5-star types who were at that camp. My gosh, if you've got Johnny Manziel and Marcus Mariota, and you're making a decision as to which one you want to keep, for crying out loud, some little guy up the road is not supposed to be within 20 and 17 in the third quarter.
I understand
Therefore, if they were within 3 in the third quarter, that team at the end of the game should be declared the winner just by virtue of what they did.
Moral victory.
That's said.
You're talking about a moral victory.
No, I'm talking.
No, it's exactly what you're saying.
It's not moral. It's not moral victory. It's a victory. It's a victory because they did better with the talent they had. Chip Kelly should be in the net. They lost to Stanford. Boo! Seinfeld moment. Boo! Boo! The Beavers almost beat the Ducks.
They didn't almost beat the Ducks.
Yes, they did.
That's the Ducks' MO. They wear you out. They wear you out.
They didn't wear them out. You know, they're not. What is the deal? They're not wearing people out the last couple weeks. They didn't wear out Stanford.
Oregon State would have to play the perfect football game for 4 quarters to beat that Oregon team. And they didn't do it. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it.
No, I understand that, and I'm not saying that they will. I'm saying it's a better achievement with the talent they were given. And God would agree with me, right? Because you're given so much talent, you make the best of it. They've got these unheralded players, and they're up there in the top 20 in the country, and they're playing into the third quarter with a team
I agree.
that has been given, in the story of the Bible and all the talents. They got all the talents. They were given the talents. And they threw it away against Stanford. Mm-hmm. But those blessed Beavers, they put it all together and gave it their best all year long, and even came within those very talented Ducks in the third period by 3 points. I say that's the team to cheer for.
I applaud that too.
End of discussion. All right, and now, oh no, I should never say that. You know what I'm saying, though. I know they lost.
I do understand what you're saying, but I feel much better about the Stanford loss than I feel about the Oregon loss, and it's not just because of the spread of the what the final scoring outcome was.
Yeah.
I think Oregon State battled Stanford hard till the end. They made one major mistake when the ball slipped out of Vaz's hands.
Ooh.
That was huge. Okay, I think they made multiple mistakes, and Oregon wore them out and forced those mistakes. And I didn't think that Oregon State responded well once they had some miscues in that game.
I agree.
Much more respect for how they played Stanford than how they played Oregon in the second half.
You see, I agree. And without belaboring this point, it's just the fact that I agree with that, and I knew that was going to happen. I mean, I felt that would happen. They would intercept Sean Mannion the same way they did just about every other quarterback, except for that, what's his name, Regan from Stanford, Regan, Keyford, Stanford, whatever. Whatever, the young freshman from Stanford had a very good game against them. I expected those things to happen. It's just my point is, when you consider what they're given to start with and what they attained with that team, it's a remarkable thing.
I would never disagree with that statement. So I completely agree with that statement.
Let us shake hands and depart then for this point of the show and come back with more vitriolic discussion.
Very good.
This morning on From the Sidelines. That's Wally Ordeman, and we'll continue. I'm whoever I am, because I know most people are going, what a fool he is to say those things. No, think about it. Think about it. I won't go over it.
Gotta get the last word in,
I won't go over it again. Just consider what has just been said, and we'll be back in a moment.
Get fit. feel better, look better, get in shape, and have fun doing it. Get started now and join the Albany Athletic Club. Since 1979, the Albany Athletic Club has offered a clean, friendly, safe environment where fitness is fun. Play racquetball, lift weights, participate in cycling or yoga, or just relax in the sauna or whirlpool. Group fitness classes from low-impact dance to traditional circuit training. Your children will love the child care. Don't wait. Join today. The Albany Athletic Club over the bridge in North Albany next to Tom's Garden Center.
What better Christmas gift could you get someone this year than something they will use, sometimes every day, that they don't expect, that they will love? Thoughtful, creative, quick, and inexpensive. Gateway Imprints in Lebanon can customize iPhone or iPad cases, blankets, t-shirts, jackets, plaques, mugs, golf balls, practically anything you can think of with a picture, a name, or a logo. No minimum orders and no limit to the fun you'll have creating a custom Christmas gift. That's Gateway Imprints, 585 Park in Lebanon, or gatewayimprints.com.
The Albany Historic Interior Tours Committee presents the 33rd Annual Christmas Parlor Tour of Historic Homes, Museums, and Churches, Sunday, December 9th. Several historic homes will have their beautifully decorated parlors open, plus music, refreshments, horse-drawn wagon rides, and vintage trolley rides, all included in the $15 ticket price. Well-behaved children under 12 are admitted free with a paid adult. You'll see private homes and several public sites, including Albany's oldest private home, now the Monteith House Museum, lit by oil lamp and firelight, plus the Carousel Art Studio and Densel American Carousel Museum. See the decorated Victorian splendor of Albany's historic districts, both outside and in, Sunday, December 9th, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tickets available from 1 p.m. on tour day at the Albany Visitor Center, 3rd and Lyons, downtown.
I am for the child who's had 7 addresses in a single year because she's in foster care, because her father abused her, and because her mother couldn't believe her. I am for her, the child who no longer believes in others or believes in herself. I am for that child, so I am there for that child, to listen to her, to speak for her, to champion without compromise for what's in her best interest. Because if I am, she will be half as likely to languish in foster care, and that much more likely to find a safe, permanent home. That is the child I am for. I am a court-appointed special advocate volunteer. I am you.
Lift up a child's voice, a child's life. Get involved at lincasa.org or by calling 541-926-2651. 926-2651.
Get tomorrow's news tonight. John Batchelor, Sunday through Friday nights on Smart Talk 1580.
Welcome back from the sidelines this Friday morning. We do this every Friday here at KGAL Radio. Locally owned and operated, very pleased, proud to be local. That's a rare thing in radio these days. That's Wally Ordeman, and I'm Radio Ray. Tomorrow, I said we would stop on that point that we were making earlier, but to emphasize that point a little more, the Beavers tomorrow take on a very good Nichols State team. And by the way, your second question of the day here in our classroom, we like to instruct here. I think this is a different kind of sports program. I mean, you can just discuss just so long whether Eli Manning is an elite quarterback or whether Michael Vick is going to be back with the Eagles next year. I mean, that's, we go a little more, I think, educationally, a little more instructive. The question is the Nichols State, the very good Nichols State team. They won a game.
Okay.
I won't ask you who they beat because I don't know either. But they're 1-9.
Oh, man.
Coming in. What is the nickname of the Nichols State team?
I think I knew this at the beginning of the season. Now I'm drawing a blank. We've already seen a Golden Eagles, right?
The Gold Eagles are Niagara.
Right.
Purple
that's why that's coming to mind.
They're not Golden Eagles. Purple Eagles. The
Purple Eagles.
Golden Griffins of Canisius. You may have heard me mention them.
Okay.
And the Purple Eagles of Niagara, which played the Oregon State basketball team.
Yes.
A few weeks ago.
Okay.
I wouldn't have known this except I saw it in the paper.
No idea.
The Colonels.
Okay.
The Colonels.
Right.
The Colonels.
They just couldn't make general?
Maybe not, because they've only won one game this year. I think they were generals when the year started.
Next year they're the lieutenants.
But it is funny that back
That's
in
really funny right
they may
there.
Be, yes, I think it is. They may be lieutenants now because they've only won a game. They may be privates. At the beginning of the year, when we were about to play Nicholls State, and we were telling about the season, we had the fear that things could go bad for Oregon State, and if so, Mike Riley might be on right on the
I was
brink.
extremely pessimistic when we had that conversation.
Yeah, and that maybe one of the teams they could beat was Nicholls State, but there's even some concern. I think everybody thought they'll beat Nicholls State, but there was deep down, there was this deep-rooted concern because of the fact that they had lost to Sacramento State.
You're 1 year removed from the loss to Sacramento State. I mean, that doubt has to creep in.
So along with the feeling, oh, yes, the Beavers will win tomorrow, you always had to say, but they better not lose this one.
Right.
Because it was out there. Well, now, a couple of months later, look where we are.
Look where we are. The opener, you beat Wisconsin, and you're off and running, and who would have thought that would happen? It's just, I go back to what I said before. It was I was extremely pessimistic about the prospects for this season. Have been just, I mean, I can't tell you how excited I am about Oregon State football now, and the progress that team made from last year to this year is just unbelievable. And tomorrow's not going to be a problem.
And the coach of the year in the Pac-12, Shaw from Stanford.
Right.
Unfair?
Well-deserved.
No.
Well-deserved. If Mike Riley's a close second, I'm fine with that.
He's not a close second. He's number one.
Yeah.
What, did they have to beat Stanford? Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, they did. All right, then let's make it even. Let's have Stanford come up here for a game. Let's see how they do. All right? They made it
They've
tough.
got more important fish to fry right now.
The team that knocked the Ducks out of the championship game, the Beavers went down to their stadium. Hello, Ducks. Hello, yellow and green people that are getting angry with me this morning. I'm sorry. I just venting here.
Sure.
Stanford came up there to play them, and Stanford beat them. The Ducks went into their territory and played them very well to the end.
Right.
With what you just said about the remarkable turnaround in the season, the coach of the year is Mike Riley.
I think the comeback coach of the year is Mike Riley. I think you have to give it to Shaw.
Because you went to that game with your brother-in-law, who is an avid Duck fan, is he not?
He's a former Duck football letterman.
Well, yippee freaking do. Yeah. The question is...
You were unimpressed with that, weren't you?
Well, the question is whether he's seen the light or not in the years since. He's allowed to make his mistakes. We all do. Lord knows I've made mistakes occasionally on the morning update. I had gone a whole year without a mistake until yesterday morning. And I made 2 in a row. But we all make mistakes. Has he seen the light in the years since? I assume, since he's going to the game with you, it's been years and years and years since he was in college.
Yes, it has. Thank you. Well played.
Let that sink in.
Nice. That's
so
nice.
He would have a lot of time to come to his senses. Did he?
No.
Where were we going with this?
I have no idea.
I think you were being in his company for the Civil War game. You somehow, rather than the evangelical word that you should have given to him, I think it was the other way around, that he sort of recruited you.
No. The Beaver roots run deep with me, so there's no danger of me going over to the other side. No chance of that. But I'll tell you, it was a fascinating day. I went home and told my wife, this was a sociological study of human behavior, to be amongst 5,000 Duck fans in that crowd. One of the few orange and black wearing people in that group. I kept my mouth shut and my head low and just observed. And
really?
And I showed remarkable restraint, actually. But it was really a fun day. We had a great time. And it was kind of a last-minute deal that I got to go anyway. And my sister-in-law gave up her spot, and so I could go with Bruce. And it was, the day was fun. I didn't like the outcome, but the day was fun. But it was fascinating to watch the mood of the Duck crowd throughout that game, and when it became apparent that the outcome was no longer in question, they got ruthless. And I don't say that in a negative way necessarily, because I think that happens in any supportive crowd of a team. Okay, but the comments got more and more cutting as the day went along, and not toward me. I kept my mouth shut and my head low. But if you've been to Oregon games, and have you seen the guy that has the opposing team's mascot stuffed animal on the end of a rope and swings
I
it.
have seen it, yes.
Swings it, and after each touchdown, they count how many points they have. It's just like doing the push-ups thing and all that. He sat right next to us.
Did he?
Right next to us.
With the stuffed beaver?
With the stuffed beaver, and every time they'd score, he'd go past us, go down in front of the crowd, and he'd swing his little rope with his beaver on the end of it. And yeah.
That's sad.
I got to tell you, my opinion of that man has not changed over the last week, or since I first saw him at a Duck game, and after listening to him talk, he's still a moron.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow, they're strong. I like to hear that kind of thing on the radio. This is controversial. And I want to see this guy come to the door in 5 minutes.
He was not pleased that there was a beaver sitting a couple of spots away from him.
I'll tell you this, you're lucky I'm here. If he comes to the door. Because I can show you a quick exit.
I'm pretty sure I could take him.
I'm always ready to get out quickly. I can show you the fastest way out that he'll never catch.
He is, I will give him this, he's very passionate about swinging that rope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's his 15 minutes right there.
You know, I don't know that one is so bad. Both sides are bad. We sit now near the Valley Center, really, and just in the row in front of the Valley Center. And there was somebody with the windows were open in the Valley Center, and there were some younger people, you could tell by the voices, I never really saw them, that started to yell at number 6, which is DeAnthony Thomas. And they said, DeAnthony Thomas, you're no good. DeAnthony Thomas, number 6. Never said DeAnthony. He said, number 6. Number 6, you're fat. Number 6, you're slow. Well, I thought because...
Guess what? He's not.
No. I thought, well, that's stupid, first of all. I mean, the things that not only is stupid because it's abusive, that's not what you do at the ball game.
That's right.
But it's stupid because it doesn't make any sense either. But I thought the Valley Center might be akin to the luxury boxes.
Sure.
And that somebody there would probably say, hey, that's not the kind of thing we do from here. So I never turned around to say anything. But it turned out that those are small rows in front of the Valley Center. There's only so many seats up, until you get to the Valley Center. So the next section down in the back row there, I didn't realize this until the third quarter, at which time they had finally stopped, that there was an Oregon fan. There were 3 or 4 younger Oregon fans, and one of them was wearing the number 6, a little bit heavier. And that's who they were yelling.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know that. And I swear to you, had I known it, I would have turned around since I was in the row.
Absolutely.
I'm down a little bit from it. It's not like I'm standing right next to them. It's hard to understand. There's this area they have this black cloth over that probably takes up what would be 3 or 4 rows or something. I would have turned around and said something to them. I thought they were yelling at DeAnthony Thomas, and I thought, that's not my business. If they want to yell, they're not being heard anyway. He can't hear them out there. But they were yelling at somebody from Oregon. What a classless thing to do.
That is classless.
So it's on both sides. Obviously, it's on both sides.
Absolutely, it's on both sides. And, that's just a classless moment. You're absolutely right. And that's an opportunity for us to mentor these young people.
I wish I would have. I didn't understand. I knew that they were Duck fans, but I didn't realize that, the number 6, that he's wearing the number 6, and that's who they're yelling at, because I wouldn't think they'd ever do that. What a stupid thing to do.
You and I are from the same school, and that's that we were raised to be supportive of our teams without being negative toward the other. And that's a mantra that I've tried to follow all my life, and that's mantra. And I'm not trying to say it as a holier than thou type statement. I'm just trying to say that would go a long ways towards civility in a situation like the Civil War.
You certainly don't want that. And I wish I would have known, because I felt bad then for the person that it was directed toward.
Sure.
I wish I would have made him feel better about being at Oregon State. You'll go back and say, what a bunch of lousy fans that they have there.
That's right.
And that's the same thing with the guy that swings the rope.
But
that's kind of funny.
Human nature to be sensitive about. I mean, I have all of my in-laws are Duck fans, and many of them say they will never go to a game in Reeser because they feel like they're treated poorly. I've got lots of Beaver friends who say they'll never go to Autzen because they feel like they're treated poorly. It's human nature, and we're uber sensitive toward negative things about the people, teams, situations that we are loyal to, and that's just that sensitivity is heightened in a situation like a game like the Civil War.
And now we've shown our sensitive side to the radio.
Let's all hug.
If the wives are listening anywhere in the family,
what 2 nice, wonderful men. They're so wonderful. Especially that Wally. He's very handsome.
heard that before.
face for radio.
All right. Let's take this break and return from the sidelines in a moment.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by KGAL No Glare Lenses. That's CRIZAL. KGAL, live life in the clear. This is Charles Osgood. Hurricane Sandy and the storm surge that came with it carried away 100 miles of Atlantic beachfront. The same sort of thing has been happening along the Pacific coast. All sorts of measures are being proposed to keep this from happening again. None of it will do any good, says Jefferson Wagner.
The ocean is going to come back and claim its territory, no matter what you do.
He is former mayor of Malibu, who surfed the waters there most of his life. The beach comes and goes with the tide now, he tells our CBS News colleague Ben Tracy.
So there really is no beach left here when the tide comes in. That's correct.
You've heard about the fights over water in California? The sand wars after this. Since I've been wearing glasses with KGAL No Glare lenses, the difference in my vision is remarkable. I'm really seeing better. Now, when I'm playing with my grandkids, even with the inevitable smudges, I've got crystal clear vision. When I'm looking at those three faces, it's clearly true. They are beautiful. For no glare lenses with great scratch and smudge, water, dust, and dirt resistance, ask your eye care professional for KGAL No Glare lenses. That's CRIZAL. Live life in the clear.
Geico says, let's make life simpler.
Look, I'm all for modern conveniences. But ask yourself, do you really need a blender with 23 buttons just to chop an onion? At Geico, we think life should be simpler. So we make it super simple to save on car insurance. Just one click, and you could be on your way to saving hundreds. Come on, people. Life doesn't have to be that complicated.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
In Malibu, says Ben Tracy, increasingly strong storms and rising sea levels are washing away the public beaches and threatening multi-million-dollar homes.
Those same homes are blocking the natural replenishment of sand from the canyons above. So with every wave and every tide, the beach is being erased.
Last year, Malibu homeowners built a 2-mile-long rock wall to protect their property.
Now they've taxed themselves an estimated $20 million so they can go shopping for sand.
They wanted to dredge off Manhattan Beach 35 miles down the coast.
After all, back in the 1920s, Manhattan Beach sent its sand west to build Hawaii's Waikiki Beach.
For this time, Manhattan Beach's mayor, Wayne Powell, has drawn a line in the sand.
Malibu tried to steal our sand, and all the money in Malibu cannot buy Manhattan Beach sand. They could go to the desert and get plenty of sand there.
Wrong kind of sand. And besides, it would take 60,000 truckloads. Meanwhile, Malibu may need to change some names. Broad Beach would be one of the first to go. The Osgood File. Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, wherever the mission takes us, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
MetLife Auto and Home knows some ifs you never see coming. Sometimes they happen on the road.
If you get a fender bender.
And sometimes they just happen.
If somebody swipes your identity, takes it to St. Moritz, and buys $2,000 skis.
Only MetLife Auto and Home helps you plan for these ifs in life by providing auto insurance that includes identity theft resolution service to auto policy customers at no extra cost. A specific identity theft specialist is assigned to your case until it's totally resolved. MetLife can create a personalized safety net that covers your car as well as your good name. Call Michelle Martin now, your local MetLife Auto and Home property and casualty specialist. 541-905-3096, 150 Calapooia Street Southwest, Suite A2. She'll help you navigate the ifs in life. MetLife. Coverage provided by MetLife Auto and Home, a brand of Metropolitan Property and Casualty Insurance Company, a Metropolitan Direct Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Warwick, Rhode Island. Coverage rates and discounts available to those who qualify. See policy for restrictions.
Jim Bohannon, weeknights on News Talk 1580, KGAL.
Oh, yeah. Boy, that guy that's pressing the buttons today, he is really on top of his game. Should be voted, according to Wally, comeback player of the week rather than player of the week, just comeback player of the week. Welcome and thank you for coming back here to From the Sidelines. I want to say good morning to all our friends listening in St. Moritz today. We appreciate you being with us. Hey, we were talking about football coaches and such, and the fact that Mike Riley was on the bubble at the start of the year. One of the reasons beyond the fact that it's pleasing just to go and see the Beavers and know that they can win is the fact that he is solidified now for a while yet, till things maybe don't slip again.
Sure.
But it's amazing the number of people who were let go, and the chief one that just is stunning is Auburn is looking for a new head football coach.
Isn't that something?
2 years.
Yes. Yes.
It's not quite 2 years because it's at the end of January when they play that.
It's remarkable.
So it's 2 months less than 2 years. He was 3-9 this year, but that's still 2 years after. I don't know his tenure at Auburn. Let's see. It doesn't say here when he got there whether he inherited a lot of talent, and then they fell off.
Right.
Maybe that's the case. I really don't know that story. But under him, 2 years ago they won the national championship. This year he's 3-9, 0-8 in the SEC. They didn't win a game.
All right.
And he's
tough
gone.
conference, but still.
He's gone.
Unbelievable.
I'm sure he's got a lot of money coming. This story doesn't go into that. Most of them do about the money that these people have left. Tom O'Brien led North Carolina to 4 bowl appearances in 6 seasons. He lost his job because they were 7-5 this year.
Right.
He's gone.
And who plays running back for North Carolina?
North Carolina. Actually, it's North Carolina State. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
North
right.
Carolina State.
That's right.
North Carolina.
Do you want to answer the question anyway?
No, I don't.
Giovanni Bernard.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Evanson's
little brother is running back for North Carolina.
Oh, and is he doing well?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What was wrong with him? Why didn't he come out here?
It was close.
Yeah? Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a shame then.
Yeah.
Frank Speziani is out after 4 years at Boston College as head coach. They were 2-10 this year, so that's not good. Washington State's Mike Leach says he intends to be coaching the Cougars again next season. Not that he is thought to be fired immediately. He's only been there 1 year, but there were charges of abuse, and that's why he was let go at the last school.
Apple Cup solidified another year for him.
Yeah, what an amazing comeback that was. I mean, again, you talk about what Riley, what Riley has done with Oregon State. The parity in the rest of the league this year is amazing. That Washington State, which only had won 1 game, is down big in the fourth quarter, and they come back and beat Washington, which beat Stanford, which beat Oregon State.
That's right.
What a strange year it was. Another reason that Riley, with his talent, should have been coach of the year. But Mike Leach has been named as possibly North Carolina State already, which has fired their coach.
It'd be a better gig for him, I can tell you that. Much easier to recruit to North Carolina State than to Pullman.
And how about this one? Lane Kiffin. There's been a lot of talk about Lane Kiffin because SEC was, in most of the polls, #1 at the start of the year, then lost to Stanford, lost to others, and lost to Arizona, lost to the Ducks. There was a lot of talk about Lane Kiffin, but a lot of the talk revolved around his dad being the offensive coach. Monty Kiffin, his father, is the offensive coach. Well, Southern California assistant head coach Monty Kiffin has resigned.
Interesting.
Do you think he really resigned, or do you think that his son went and talked to him and said, Dad, it has to happen? Yeah. Or did Monty come to Lane and say, I know what the pressure is. I've got to go.
That's more likely.
Because I'm 72 years old. You've got a long life ahead of you.
That's more likely.
You think so?
Yep.
But what's interesting in this is that Monty Kiffin, who is 72 years old, stepped down, and that's what a lot of people were saying. He's slipping. It's not the same. And SEC had the horses, no pun intended, to win, and they didn't do it.
You mean USC?
Or USC. What did I say, SEC?
Yeah.
Let's take that out of the program.
Well, you did it a couple of times, or I wouldn't have said anything.
Did I do?
So, yeah.
Twice?
I don't like correcting you.
That's terrible.
But I knew what you meant.
But you have to because there's so many mistakes.
That's not true.
I know. Mark has the same thing in the morning. USC. We'll cut both of those out, though, including your correction before we run this program.
Creative editing.
He's 72 years old. He says he will leave USC to pursue an NFL job. Isn't that great? All the word was that 70, he's slipping. He can't do it anymore. I'm going to the NFL. Good luck. All right. The Reverend Mr. Orange and Black would stop by today with one more Beaver game, but the only thing he had to say about tomorrow was, I hope it doesn't rain, which means that he too figures it's going to be a victory. That better be a blowout. That may be booing by halftime if it's 7-0 or something.
2 goals. Get some guys some playing time have no significant injuries.
Stay healthy, yes. So you don't care whether it's 7-0?
I don't care.
No?
I really don't.
All right. Then you won't be booing at the half. But
not going to do anything with it. Might do a little bit in the BCS. Actually, you know what? It's not going to do much in the BCS one way or the other.
They could only slip.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Reverend did not have much to say about Nicholls State. However, some people had called me for a copy of the debate, the presidential debate. Apparently people that are missing now those key presidential debates, we had 3 of those. And we were the only station that had a debate between 2 people who were mentioned, although they received no votes. Mike Riley, there were signs up at the stadium for him for president, and there were signs in Eugene for Chip Kelly for president. Mm-hmm. The Reverend was the only one to bring them together for a debate. So we thought that those people that missed the presidential debates maybe would like to hear that fine debate one more time. This was after the Beavers had won 6 games in a row. They were 6-0, and the Ducks heading into this week were 7-0, as the Reverend mentions.
This is the Church of the Beaver Believer, and I am the Reverend Mr. Orange and Black. The Beavers are still headed in the right direction. 6 games in and still at perfection. The fans, they reside in football heaven. It's the team's best record since 1907. So they're all giddy, happy, and smiley, and singing the praises of head coach Mike Riley. Not long ago, some clamored for a new coaching resident. Now they proclaim Riley for president. Duck fans, meanwhile, are in their own kind of heaven. Their winning streak now standing at 7, so they're not the least bit hesitant to promote Chip Kelly for president. So I thought today it might be great to host the very first coaches' presidential debate. Greetings, everyone, from the spacious auditorium of the Church of the Beaver Believer, and welcome to the very first coaches' presidential debate. Let's meet our candidates. First, the head coach of the Oregon Ducks, Chip Kelly. Chip, welcome.
Hey, will you shut up?
Thanks. Good to meet you, too, Chip. Let's meet our other candidate, head coach of the undefeated, wonderful Oregon State Beavers, the marvelous Mike Riley. Mike, welcome.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
How a great pleasure, Your Eminence. Can we get you anything? Steak, beer, pillow for your chair, anything at all, let me know. Incidentally, although our debate today is being held inside the Church of the Beaver Believer, I, of course, am an impartial moderator. First off, let's find out a little bit about the character of our 2 candidates. Chip Kelly, how did you feel about losing football's national championship to Auburn?
It should have been mine in the first place, and now it will be. It will be mine.
Whoa. Steady, big fellow. Mike Riley, let's closely examine your character. You seem like a very nice guy. Are you?
Yes.
I thought so. Good answer, Your Kingness. Very insightful. Sure you don't want a beer? I think there's some back in the kitchen. Let's get presidential. First, Mike Riley, what do you think is the biggest problem facing this nation today?
I don't know what I'm going to do now because we are 300 miles from the closest in and out.
That is a major worry facing everyone. Another excellent answer, Mr. Next President. I think we have burgers in the kitchen, too, if you're hungry. Chip Kelly, same question. Biggest concern for the nation today?
Can you give us a little respect?
I'm not sure that's a problem for everybody, but I can see where that might be a problem for you. Let's turn to the economy. Mike Riley, unemployment in this country has been and remains at 8%. Your take on that, please.
Well, as we go on, I feel real good about their consistency.
Keenly insightful, oh champion of all that is good and wise. Chip Kelly, your take on unemployment?
This ain't hard knocks, and we ain't ever going to have hard knocks.
I suppose that's true if you're making $5 million a year and have Nike on your side. I want to ask you both, what is your take on being president? Chip?
It's not baseball. It's not another sport where you can afford to have a let up. It's every single week. It is.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand all of that. You know that sometimes you talk a little bit fast?
No.
Well, you do. Don't you agree, Mike Riley?
Yes.
You, sir, are a careful observer of all mankind, aren't you? All right, then, Chip Kelly. What would you point to as something you've accomplished as a coach that would show why you would make a good president?
You know, I look at how many of our players from our defenses in the past are playing in the NFL. Casey Matthews, Spencer Granger, Walter Crawford, Brendan Bear, Kenny Rowe, Eddie Puzzle.
What?
It would be nice if you guys didn't ask that question again.
Well, I have to because I didn't understand anything you said. Then tell me this. What are the main things you think you would have to do as president?
I got to block. I got to run good routes. I got to do everything.
Okay, then. One final question. It's yours, Mike Riley. Would you make a good president of the U.S.?
Yes.
Good enough for me. You've got my vote. And that ends our debate for today. Thank you for being here, Mike Riley.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Chip Kelly.
Hey, will you stop? Hey, will you stop? Hey, will you stop? Hey, will you stop? Hey, will you stop?
I don't care what anybody says. I know who won that debate. For anyone that missed the coach's presidential debate a few weeks back, we better take a quick break here at KGAL Radio.
For the place that has a lot of everything Christian for less, come to Tree of Life Christian Outlet. It's Kids Weekend this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. For 3 days only, every kid's Bible, book, CD, DVD, game, and toy will be at least 20% off retail. And hundreds of books, CDs, DVDs, apparel, and gift items are only $4.97. That's right, $4.97. All of Tyndale House Publishers' one-year devotionals for family, teens, and kids are on sale, too. Tyndale House Publishers' one-year book of devotions for boys or girls, only $9.97. One-year book of devotions for kids, only $9.97. Over 50 Adventures in Odyssey titles by Focus on the Family are on sale, too. Kids Weekend Sale also features Tyndale House Publishers' New Living Bibles for kids. We've slashed prices on every single kids item, so hurry in and stock up on great Christmas gifts for the kids. 3 days only, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You don't want to miss this sale. Call 888-33-BIBLE or come see us at Kings Boulevard in Corvallis, Gateway Mall in Springfield, Valley River Center in Eugene, the Columbia Gorge Premium Outlet in Troutdale, or in Seaside or Lincoln City at the Factory Outlet stores. Tree of Life Christian Outlet. A little out of the way and a lot less to pay.
This Medicare season, come home to Samaritan Advantage Health Plan, where you're always welcome and never a stranger. Home is all about you and your needs, and that's how our members feel when they join Samaritan Advantage. For example, our members know we take our commitment to their care seriously because we take the time to listen to their concerns, either on the phone or in our Corvallis office, and they know we know local health care best. After all, we live here too. Now's the time to get the quality care and treatment you deserve during Medicare's open enrollment. Learn more by calling Samaritan Advantage in Corvallis at 1-800-832-4580. It's not too late to discover how you can get affordable health care from Samaritan Advantage, just as your friends and neighbors have. Don't wait another year. Come home to a better health plan. Give us a call at 1-800-832-4580.
Come on, ladies, join us at Garland Nursery.
Come on, ladies, treat yourself to some holiday therapy at Garland Nursery.
That's right, it's back by popular demand. Ladies' Day Out this Saturday from 10 until 4. Shop, play, and pamper yourself all day for a great cause. 10% of all sales, except wine and food, will go towards Contours, a local North Albany breast cancer program. Garland Nursery's Ladies' Day Out will include a greens arranging workshop, a scarf tying demo, lunch by Iavino's Catering, wine by the glass, a Boggs trunk show, and a demo on container gardening in terrariums. Grab your girlfriends and head to Garland Nursery. Treat yourself to delights, tasty treats, wine, designing your own holiday centerpiece, and all for a good cause. It's the perfect Ladies' Day Out at Garland Nursery this Saturday from 10 until 4. Garland Nursery is located halfway between Corvallis and Albany on Highway 20.
Laugh, cry, or get scared spitless with When Radio Was. Weeknights at 10 on 1580 KGAL.
Flawless morning today, I'm pleased to say. Welcome back from the sidelines here on this Friday as we finish up this morning. By the way, Craig Terrell, who often joins us from the Seattle Seahawks, he's not with us this morning. You may remember the last time we got together a couple of weeks ago, I went to call him and he wasn't there.
Right.
That's because I tried to move into the new generation, the young generation. I tried to text him, but I can't do any texting. I don't know how to do that. So I went to Ryan Murphy, who is the genius at the station. He's younger and therefore has fallen for all of these things, and asked him to text Craig Terrell for me. And I gave him the phone number, and he did. I gave him a landline phone number. That's why he wasn't there 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So he thinks probably that I haven't called him. And because I realized that this morning, I called him at his home, but he wasn't there. And that's why he wasn't there 2 weeks ago. You can't text a landline. Did you know that?
I did know that, Ray. I did.
I didn't know that. Isn't that terrible?
Oh,
A good story to finish up the morning. So, this keeps breaking up on me here, the headphones. Clemens, Sosa, and who was the third biggie that's in there right now? Hall of Fame, yes or no?
Bonds.
Got about 10 seconds.
Next
week.
Yeah, next week. That's perfect.
Thank you, Wally. Have a good sports week, everybody, and see you next Friday.
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.